What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you the brand new contender for the top spot in Yu-Gi-Oh! And that is of course Vanquish Soul. Now the best thing about it, not only did it just receive brand new support in Duelist Advanced, but it's also going to get some more sub-support with the form of the Canines in Justice Hunters coming out at the end of the month. So grab the Holy Sues while you can, because this deck is really about to take off. I'm going to take you through the profile, show you what we've got, explain why we've got it and what each of the cards do, so you have a bit of an understanding of what the strategy of this deck is, and then give you a full breakdown of everything inside. So with that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. Diving headfirst into the brand new card that really does take this deck up like 3 or 4 levels is the Vanquish Soul Holy Sue, or Holy Sue to be exact. This card is nuts. So during the main phase, yours or your opponent's, you get a quick effect to reveal one of the Vanquish Soul monster in your hand, special on this card from the hand. Quick effect, you get to activate one of these effects by revealing monsters in your hand with the required attribute. Earth and Dark, you non-target take control of one monster your opponent controls with the lowest attack, your choice if tied. Fire and Dark, special summon a non-psychic Vanquish Soul monster from the deck. So that's going to get you direct access to Raisin, and Raisin is such a core component of the deck, as we'll explain a little bit later on. So, what does Holy Sue actually add to the deck? It's crazy, and it actually triggers off your opponent's Triple Tactics Thrust a lot more, because you're going to be putting your own monster on the field, so you've got to be very careful of that. But the fact that Holy Sue gets to either non-target take control of one of your opponent's monsters, which can be massively disruptive, or it gets you direct access to ideally your Raisin, or sometimes even your Mad Love, is going to give you follow-up for the next turn, while also setting you up with a destruction effect off of the back of the Raisin, because you should have the required attributes of being able to utilize Fire and Dark, because you would have revealed a Fire and Dark to special summon the Holy Sue, so you should have everything you need. If that wasn't enough, the card that you could search off the back of the Raisin could be your, as I skip ahead to it, could also be your Caesar Valius. And if you do that, what you're basically setting up is you're setting up the ability to go from Holy Sue into Raisin. Raisin destroys a card in the column, then searches out the Caesar Valius, summon down the Caesar Valius by returning the Holy Sue, and at that point you would have a Fire and a Dart to activate both of these effects, and then you're adding an Earth back from the field to the hand, so you can utilize the destruction effect of the Vanquish Soul Caesar Valius, which is just absolutely insane. Just so much like resource management from this is crazy. Moving on to the core card of the entire deck and strategy is your Raisin. So all of these will have 2 prints, well technically 3 prints if you contain their original collector rare print. But if this card is normal or special, you get to add a non-warrior Vanquish Soul monster from the deck to the hand. You get a quick effect to activate one of these effects by revealing the required attributes. Fire, this card can't be destroyed by card effects. Fire and Dart, destroy all other monsters in this card's column. Really kind of cool because it can also help clear out a link monster and then a link monster, monster behind that link monster as well, which is really, really useful. Moving on to a card that is now like an absolute mandatory staple at 3 in my opinion, is the Vanquish Soul Dr. Mad Love. So this one, if it is normal or special, you get to add a Vanquish Soul spell or trap from the deck to the hand. You get a quick effect to activate one of these effects by revealing the required attributes. Dark, one face-up monster you opponent controls uses 500 attack and defense. A Dark and an Earth, you return one monster on the field with the lowest defense from the field to the hand, your choice if tied. So again, absolutely amazing kind of spot removal. And the reason this card is even more important now is that we got a brand new Vanquish Soul spell card which acts as an additional starter in the form of the Vanquish Soul Start. So this is a field spell that is a common, I know, unbelievable. You get to target one Vanquish Soul monster you control, add a Vanquish Soul monster with a different attribute from your deck to the hand. So, get Dr. Mad Love, normal summon Dr. Mad Love, search out Vanquish Soul Start, activate Start. You don't control, you can get to add one that isn't a Dark, so you can straight away get you into a Jowlong, which is a Fire, or you go into a Holy Sue, which is obviously an Earth. So you've got loads of different ways to kind of get these. Bridging is insane. Then, if a Vanquish Soul monster or monsters you control would be destroyed by battle or card effects, you get to reveal a Vanquish Soul monster in your hand instead. During your end phase, if you control 2 or more Vanquish Soul monsters, you get to set one Vanquish Soul trap from the deck. So again, that gives you even more direct access to your Snow Devil, and Snow Devil is just absolutely incredible, which I'll talk about a little bit later on. The other spell cards I am playing for Mad Love to search out is I'm still playing the one Continue. I'm not completely set on this card, but I do quite like it as a quick play to give you a bit more of a grind state. But you pay 500 life points, target a Vanquish Soul monster in your graveyard, either add it to the hand or special summon it in defense. And I'm also still playing the one Dust Devil. I actually really like this, and I feel that when we've got these new Vanquish Soul names, it's a lot easier to actually resolve this more and get more of advantage from it. So you target a Vanquish Soul monster you control, you change its battle position, and then you get to change face-up monsters your opponent controls to face-down defense position up to the number of Vanquish Soul monsters you control with different names. So when you include the 2 new Vanquish Soul monsters we received, being the Holly Sue and also being the Vanquish Soul Rocks, you're going to be able to get more monsters and more names on the field to make this a lot easier to resolve and get more of the flip effects done. It's not an absolute staple. These are actually both very, very flexible in my opinion, but you definitely want to be playing the Vanquish Soul start. Some people choose to play it on more than one, which is also absolutely fine. So if you are going to cut these down, you could bump up the Vanquish Soul start. I feel that 1 and 2 is like the perfect ratio for it. Moving back to the monsters, I am on 2 Vanquish Soul Jiaolong. Now, this is kind of like, I wouldn't even say controversial. Like, loads of people that I've talked to, they're like, yeah, you either play 2 or play 3. It really kind of comes down to your preference. I do have a 3rd copy. It's a not quarter century, so I was like, you know what? I'll let the rarity decide how many I'm going to play on this one. And I decided to go with 2. Whether that's right or not, I will learn as I test it a little bit more with all the new support as to what I want to change. And I don't want to dive too headfirst in this particular version, as I do expect that I'm going to change it again once we get Justice Hunters at the end of the month. So if you reveal a card or cards in the hand to activate a Vanquish Soul card or effect, except during a damage step, you special summon this card from the hand. You get a quick effect to activate one of these effects by revealing the required attributes. Fire, change the battle position of one monster on the field. 2 fires, add a Vanquish Soul card from the deck to the hand except itself. You can only use each effect once per turn. Now, if you have noticed as well, the Holly Suit is a level 5 as well as the Jiaolong, which is why you can start opening up the access to some rank 5s for the extra deck, should you choose to. I feel that's going to get a little bit better once we get the K9s, because they're all going to be level 5s as well, and that's where your Nash Knight, your Dice Smasher, they're all going to become more consistent. So if you're wondering why those rank 5s are going up in price, well, this is the reason for it. I'm then on to Heavy Borga. This is kind of the same area with the Jiaolong. Some people play 2, some people play 3. Some people play 1. That's kind of down to personal preference. I feel that 2 is the balance line. I feel that 2 is one of the ones where it's kind of the right knife. There might be times where you're like, I wish I had a 3rd, but then it's not too little that you're like, where is the Borga? So this one, during the main phase, you get a quick effect, target a non-machine Vanquish Soul monster you control, return it to the hand, and if you do, special summon this card. You get a quick effect to activate one of the following effects. Reveal a dark, draw a card, reveal an earth and fire, and fit 1500 damage to your opponent. Like, the worst thing about it is that there is a rank 5, which is number C105, I believe, or C104, and it halves your opponent's life points. And then you're going to get 1500 additional damage off the back of the Heavy Borga, and you can get 2400 damage off of the back of the Dust Devil. Like, this deck's going to be able to turn into like a very quick FDK burn if we're not careful. Then we've got the one Vanquish Soul Caesar Valius. Has the exact same effect as Borga, that during the main phase you get a quick effect to target a non-dragon Vanquish Soul monster, return it to the hand, and special summon this card. Then it has the reveal effects. If you reveal an Earth, this face-up card is unaffected by your opponent's activated effects this turn. Earth, Fire, and Dark, you destroy non-target 1 card on the field. And the last card I'm playing is the one Pantera. You don't have to play Pantera. You can cut this out completely if you wanted to. I just like it as another Earth target, but you don't even really need to rely on it so heavily because of the introduction of Holly Sue. So if you control no monsters in your main monster zone, you get to special summon this card from the hand. It gains the quick effect to reveal an Earth, and it can't be destroyed by battle this turn. If you reveal an Earth and a Fire, you destroy all spells and traps in this card's column. So it is completely optional, this one. This is where the 3rd Jiaolong or the 3rd Borga will come into play, and that is down to your personal preference. But I love the art type of Vanquish Souls, the fact that it's kind of like a fighting game. So if you look at like some of the other games out there, and you'll see that more so with Stake Your Soul as well. They are basically like versing each other, and then in kind of like the modernized kind of fighting games, you have the ability to like tag out your fighter for a different fighter. All of these fights have a different effects. They're kind of like playing different other buttons and like not even button mashing, but learning different combos is really cool. Moving on to the spells, 3 annoying not Vanquish Soul named, but 3 Stake Your Soul with the best artwork around. So you reveal 1 monster in your hand, you special summon a Vanquish Soul monster with the same attribute, but a different name from the deck. But you return it to the hand during the end phase. Now, more times than not, if you return it to the hand, that's fine, but you're probably going to be linking it off for Rock of the Vanquisher. You're either going to return it to the hand for stuff like your Caesar Valius or your Heavy Borga. You just have so many different ways to work that. This guy is incredible. 1 Reinforcer of the Army, and then 1 Vanquish Soul Snow Devil. So you reveal up to 1 each of a Dark, Earth, and Fire, and it's just become even easier to reveal those Earth with that brand new card in your hand to apply the following effects in sequence based on the number revealed. If you reveal 1, you do 400 damage to your opponent, and then you get to special summon a Vanquish Soul monster from the hand. If you reveal 2, inflict 600 damage to your opponent. Also, this turn, Vanquish all monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effect. And if you reveal 3, you deal 800 damage to your opponent, and then you get to destroy all monsters on the field. So straight away, this one is going to work its way up to 1800 damage. Plus the half from the C105, and then the 15 off of Borga, you've got the ability to put your opponent pretty much down to nearly out, and then as soon as it comes back to your turn, if they can't clear off the Borga, or if you're able to protect the Borga and get it back down the next turn, reveal 2, burn for the final 15. Like, that's not what you want to do with this deck. Like, you can actually flood the field with a lot of strong monsters, and then push through for just attack damage OTK, but you do need to be very wary of the burn damage of this as well, because, especially with the Lunalight matchup, like, the Lunalights want to pay life points if they use heavy polymerization, and if they do decide to do that, they are putting themselves well within Borga territory, where they're like, you know what, I don't care that your card is a towers and unaffected by everything, but your life points aren't unaffected. I'm going to use my Borga to then use this effect to destroy, to burn for that 1500, which is absolutely insane. Moving on to the hand traps, pretty generic on this one, but I'll mention them as we go. So you've got the 3 Fluoros. These don't have any attribute reveal effects for the rest of your Vanquish Souls, because at the moment we don't have like a wind line, which would be really cool if we did get that. One that is quite useful for you is, of course, your Ash Blossom. So this could be your fire reveal for some of your effects as well. The only thing I don't like about particular hand traps like Ash Blossom, which is why I quite like cards that are going to return to the hand. So when you're looking at stuff like which I do actually play, is the Alpha Master of Beasts. What I liked about that, or even the Bestials, is the fact that they can replace themselves. So where you use Ash Blossom and you've lost that card from the hand, you've lost that attribute. With Bestials, you'll use a Dark, but then it can replace itself with another Dark in the end phase. When you're using the Master Beast to help you break a field, you can return the Master Beast, bring it back to the hand, remove one of your opponent's monsters that might be a threat for later on in combos, and then you've got that Earth back in the hand to be revealed. The other Earth that we are playing is 2 Ghost Bell, backed up by 2 DD Crow. Again, completely optional on these particular choices. It's really kind of one of them ones that I feel that Ghost Bell can be quite effective in the current meta for you, while also then being quite effective as an Earth reveal. You kind of want to hold back as much information as possible when you're revealing these particular hand traps, but then again, at the end of the day, you're probably revealing them with the next step you're going to be activating them anyway. Then we've got the 1 Dogoran. Now, I like this as a main deck out to the Lunalights right now, as I feel that Lunalights is going to be the cheaper competitive option in comparison to this deck. We still need to worry about the Mitsurugi Raizyos, so even then, Dogoran can still be quite useful for you. You can play other cards like Small World in one of my first iterations that helps you bridge to the Dogoran, but the idea behind this one is it's a Kaiju, it's a fire that can be revealed, it's a card that lets you out any of your opponent's monsters, and it can be very, very effective for you. Pretty much the same for the Alpha Master, but as mentioned, the reason I quite like the Alpha Master is for the fact that I get to summon it down, and I can push for 3k damage if I wanted to, or more times than not, I can just return it to the hand to non-target remove one of my opponent's monsters, and then I've still got that Earth attribute in the hand to reveal for it. Then when main decking 3 Draw Not Bird, again, the wind attribute has less effect on the entire consistency of the deck. So it's something that is really down to the format right now. You can take this out. These can be the small worlds. They can be more earths and more fires, more darks. They're going to be the attributes that are going to be more effective for you. And the last 3 cards I've got is the 1 Crossout Designator, 1 Pot of Prosperity, and 1 Call by the Grave. Now, arguably, if you're not a fan of Crossout Designator, and the reason I put it in here is because I like Ash and Drolls, but then also for the Fluoroses as well, you have the ability as a Vanquish Soul player, like your biggest weakness is probably going to be Perulia, as you're going to want to summon from the hand a couple of times. So if they do it during the draw phase, you'll have to go normal summon Raisin, don't special summon any monster from the hand, and then go from there. It's also one of the ones that can kind of be triggered off of the back of activating Holy Sue as well. You can, of course, play Trill Tactic Talents. I also highly advise Trill Tactics Thrust to be in the main or the side, just because Holy Sue. So if you're expecting to play loads of Vanquish Soul in your environment, that's when you're going to really gain an edge, because being able to activate Trill Tactics Thrust can then get you into directly Talents, and because your opponent controls a monster, you can activate it, look at your opponent's hand, and start to disrupt them. So it's one of these ones where cards like that are going to be more effective in this upcoming format, and you do need to kind of be considerate of stuff like Dominus Impulse. So with the decks that can run it, like the Mitsurugi Raizyos and everything else, Impulse is going to put in a lot of work against you. So you do need to be aware of what the strengths and weaknesses of this deck are. Moving on to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we are on 3 Rock of the Vanquisher. So this is your ideal Link monster. It's like a Link 1, and we already know how good Link 1 monsters are in general. They're always going to add so much advantage to the type of decks that they are supporting. This one requires specifically a Vanquish Soul monster, and it can't be used as Link material. While you control a Vanquish Soul monster, your opponent's monsters can only target monsters you control with the highest attack, their choice if tied. During the main phase, 4 attacks specifically. During the main phase, you get a quick event to then activate one of the following effects. Special summon a Vanquish Soul Monster from the hand, or add a Vanquish Soul Monster from the grave back to the hand. So it gives you that recyclability, and then the one big benefit we receive with the Rock of the Vanquisher is the brand new Vanquish Soul Rocks. Now, once we do get the K9s, you won't need to rely on rocks as much, and you could probably afford to play 2 Rock of the Vanquisher and 1 rocks if you wanted to, and that's when your rank 5 options start opening up. There are some other Xyzes that we are playing and some links that will be adapted once you go down that K9 route. But the Vanquish Soul Rocks, the reason it's kind of cool is it does require 2 or more level 4 Vanquish Soul monsters, but it also has another way to cheat it out. Once per turn, if a Vanquish Soul monster battled this turn, you can also XYZ summon the Vanquish Soul Rocks by using 1 Vanquish Soul monster or Rock of the Vanquisher you control as material, and you transfer the materials to it. Gains the following effects based on the attributes it's attached to it as material. Dark, all monsters your opponent controls lose 800. Fire, Vanquish Soul monsters you control gain 1000 attack, which is insane. Earth, you get to detach 1 material from this card to destroy 1 card your opponent controls. Now, I don't mind that because it means that a Vanquish Soul monster has to battle. If it didn't mean that it had to battle, you could pretty much turn a Rock of the Vanquisher, which is a 0 attack, into a 2k monster, which would then have all dark, so all of your opponent's monsters will lose 800 attack. So it would give you all of these abilities to kind of reduce your opponent's attack and then just go, cool, attack, 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 attack. So for this to be a main phase 2-esque effect can still be really, really important, and it does also open up the door to get you into easy access for the Divine Arsenal AA Zeus, should you need to as well. Carrying on with the rest of this, we do play the 1 Exaton Knight and the 1 Baguska, followed up by the 1 Super Star Slayer Typhon. Typhon is just one of those options for the current format that is such a great thing to be able to out certain fields, and it really does put in a lot of work without disrupting you too much. Baguska is if you get hand trapped to death, you still have that ability to get some rank 4s on the field and control from there. And then Exaton Knight is to try and balance out the number differentiation, depending if your opponent's hit you with a Fluoros or a Perulia. Moving on to the Link monsters, we've got Dart the Dark Charmer, which can be any of your Charmers of choice. Like, personally, in the mirror matchup, you're probably going to want to be looking towards something like a Heater a bit more consistently because you get to bring back their Raisin and then off you go. SP Little Knight, IP Masquerena, Nightmare Phoenix, and then the new card that I'm trying out in this one is the Gorgon of the Xylophenia. So this one requires 2+ effect monsters, so IP +1. You can't summon or set to monsters this card zone points to. The monsters this card points to cannot attack, also their effects are negated. It gains attack equal to the total original attack of monsters this card points to, and it can't be destroyed by battle or monster effect while it points to no monsters. It's one of them weird ones that you'll still need an additional monster on the field, that if you need to get this off the field, you'd have to link it off into something like a Nightmare Phoenix or an SP Little Knight. But it's one of them alternative options that if your opponent is trying to set up columns, you can go into the Gorgon. Or, again, in the mirror match, if you know they've got Raisin and they're trying to play the Raisin, and they're trying to play the Raisin into a column to destroy stuff in the column, you can go, cool, IP Masquerena into the Gorgon. Gorgon would then summon down, and it locks out 3 zones straight away that your opponent can only use the other 2 left zones if they want to start using their effects, and that can be quite damaging for them. Then got the 1 Underworld Goddess. Now this again is just an out to the Lunalight matchup. I feel that if you disrespect the Lunalight matchup, you will get caught off guard and it will be able to punish you massively. So being able to have a card in the extra deck that literally allows you to get rid of a towers without really affecting it is very, very important, and it really will turn the tide of a game. If your opponent's sitting there like, right, cool, come at me, can you get out of this? If you can't, well, I'm going to win. And you're like, yeah, well, I've already got some Vanquish Soul Monsters on the field, or I can flood my field with Vanquish Soul Monsters, link off into the Underworld Goddess just to clear off the towers monsters, and then control and start to come back at you during your opponent's turn with all of your Vanquish Soul Monsters effects triggering in the hand, stuff like Holly Sue, working into Borgers for burn damage, for draw power, Risings for column destruction, you name it. So that's it for the entire profile. Hopefully this is giving you a bit of an idea of your own build. Like I said, this is going to change slightly once we do get the brand new cards in the K9s. But for now, this kind of gives you an idea of what the deck is going to look like, at least for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then you're going to start looking into what K9 cards you're going to need to get hold of in order to kind of maximize this deck's potential. And we already know how good this deck is in the OCG. So it's something you need to be aware of, whether you're going to be facing it or whether you're going to be playing it yourself. It gives you an idea of what's to come. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you do have any questions, by all means, please put in the comments down below. I will be more than happy to answer them. For now, as absolutely always, stay safe and, of course, happy dueling.